We return now to our top story. Officials confirming that 70 people have been killed during an attack in Kenya. Al-Shabaab militants storming a university in the northeastern town of Garissa. Let's get the very latest now as we go live to Kenya. Chief Africa correspondent Robyn Kriel standing by to talk to us. Robyn, good evening to you. So 70 people dead. This is a dramatic and tragic turn of events.
Yes, but I think that a lot of us thought that this number might rise, especially given the horrificness, really, of some of the stories that were emerging throughout the day. Gunmen storming a university, 5:30 in the morning, many students heading for morning prayers. Then the news that they were separating Muslims from Christians, allowing Muslims to leave, and then gunshots being heard once those people were fleeing. Now we understand the attackers and hostages, an unknown number of hostages, but some people believe it's estimated to be up to 200 hostages could be in the girls' dormitory room in one of the women's dormitories on the university campus, along with those gunmen. Just what is happening inside, no one knows, except for the fact that they hear sporadic gunfire and explosions.
Soldiers with tanks deployed around the campus, Robyn, we know that, but what other efforts are being made at this time to contain the situation?
Well, the police chiefs, Minister of Interior, all sort of the top echelons of Kenya's security services have flown into Garissa. There is a big military base in Garissa as well. There's always been a heavy police presence there, really, ever since 2011, when Kenya sent its troops across the border to fight Somali insurgent group Al-Shabaab. Garissa has kind of been a hotbed of unrest, really. It's where a lot of people believe there's a lot of dissent, that there's a lot of support for Al-Shabaab in that area. Consequently, there have been sporadic attacks, the odd grenade thrown into a nightclub, perhaps a gunman going into a hotel and killing a few people. One of the larger attacks in Garissa was when gunmen entered a church service in full swing and shot dozens of people. But it's been quiet recently. And that's something that people are really concerned about. Intelligence services, for example, here in Nairobi. Why did this attack not happen somewhere like in Nairobi or in, say, Mombasa, when Al-Shabaab is really concerns itself with the massacring of the Christian crusaders, as it calls them, and especially against the West, against the Americans, the British, etc. Why did it go to Garissa, where the population is mostly Somali Kenyan, much like themselves, and mostly Muslim? That's one of the questions, and one of the answers has been that perhaps this is either a diversion, or perhaps this, that in some way a plot was disrupted from occurring here in Nairobi and Mombasa, because the security has been up so much for the past 2 months. And this was the softest target that they could hit, while still sending a very, very dangerous message.
And obviously, Robyn Kriel, concern, I would imagine, in Kenya tonight, that this is perhaps the start of an accelerated wave of terror.
Well, I think the wave of terror has always been there. I mean, this is not the first time something like this has happened, Jeremy. We spoke on the roof overlooking Westgate in 2013 when we knew dozens of people were inside and we could hear the shooting and bombings in a upscale mall frequented by rich Kenyans and foreigners. 67 people, not including the attackers, killed in that, the siege lasting for 80 hours. Then there was Mpeketoni, which is near the luxury island area of Lamu, where 70 villages were almost exterminated, as it were, when militia, an Al-Shabaab militia arrived, carrying very heavy weaponry, including RPGs, automatic weapons, Al-Shabaab flags. They even beheaded at least one person during that decimation of that small town. This is a precise band of people. They've been trained in the bush for many years. They know how to behave and act like a military, and they're attacking these facilities that are guarded by security guards or a couple of policemen like they are going into battle. And it's not going, and a few policemen can't stop them. It's got to be a military that essentially intervenes and stops them at the borders.
Live in Nairobi for Newsnight, our Chief Africa correspondent Robyn Kriel with the very latest on that deadly attack in Kenya. Just to remind you, officials now confirming that the death toll has climbed to 70.